7 rules, 30 days. That's all it took for the most powerful men in ancient Rome to transform their minds. These aren't motivational platitudes. They're battle-tested mental frameworks used by emperors and slaves alike. Each one takes less than 5 minutes a day, and any single one of them can change the way you experience your life. Every morning before your feet hit the floor, do what Marcus Aurelius did for 19 years. Anticipate the worst. In the Meditations, Marcus wrote that each morning he told himself, "Today I will meet people who are ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, and envious." He wasn't being pessimistic. He was preparing. The Stoics call this premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. Here's why it works. When you've already imagined the difficult conversation, the unexpected setback, the frustrating coworker, it loses its power to derail you. You've rehearsed your response before the event even happens. And without surprise, there is no emotional hijack. You respond instead of react. And that difference between reacting and responding is the difference between being controlled by your day and controlling it. Try this tomorrow. Before you check your phone, spend 2 minutes thinking about the hardest part of your day. Then decide in advance how you'll handle it. That decision, made in calm, will carry you through the chaos. Epictetus opened his most famous work with one sentence: "Some things are within our power while others are not." This is the foundation of Stoic practice. Your opinions, your effort, your responses, those are yours. Other people's behavior, the economy, the past, your reputation, not yours. And every second you spend trying to control what isn't yours is a second stolen from what is. Think about how much energy you've spent this week worrying about what other people think of you. Now ask yourself honestly, did any of that worrying change a single opinion? It never does. It just exhausts you. Here's the practical test. The next time you feel anxious, ask yourself one question: can I do anything about this right now? If yes, do it. If no, release it, not because it doesn't matter, but because holding it accomplishes nothing except your own suffering. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." Memento Mori, remember that you will die. It sounds morbid. It's actually the most liberating practice the Stoics ever invented. Because when you remember that your time is finite, everything sharpens. The petty argument you've been replaying for 3 days, irrelevant. The project you keep postponing because you're afraid of failure, suddenly urgent. The person you've been meaning to call, you pick up the phone. Death isn't the enemy. Forgetting about death is. Because the moment you forget, you start living as if you have forever. And people who think they have forever waste everything. Set a daily reminder on your phone. 2 words, Memento Mori. When it goes off, pause for 10 seconds and ask, am I spending this hour the way I'd spend it if I knew it was one of my last? Seneca deliberately practiced poverty. Once a month, he would eat the cheapest food, wear his roughest clothing, and sleep on a hard surface. Not because he had to, because he chose to. He wrote about this in Letter 18, and his reasoning was brilliant. He said that if you regularly practice discomfort, you'll never fear losing your comfort. The thing most people are terrified of, losing their lifestyle, their status, their convenience, becomes something you've already survived. Voluntarily, on your own terms. In your life, this can be simple. Take a cold shower, skip a meal, walk instead of driving, say no to something easy and yes to something hard. Leave your phone in another room for an evening. The point isn't to punish yourself. The point is to prove to yourself that you don't need comfort to function, that you're stronger than your habits, that the things you think you can't live without are just preferences, not necessities. When Marcus Aurelius felt overwhelmed by the pressures of ruling an empire, he used a mental exercise that modern psychologists now call cognitive distancing. He zoomed out. He imagined looking down on the world from a great height. Cities became dots, armies became ants. His own problems, which felt enormous at eye level, shrank to almost nothing when seen from above. Try this the next time something feels unbearable. Zoom out. Picture your city from above, then your country, then the planet. Then imagine 1,000 years passing. Will this problem still exist? Will anyone remember it? The answer is almost always no. And that perspective doesn't minimize your experience, it right-sizes it. It reminds you that most of what feels catastrophic is actually just temporary and local. Every night after his household went quiet, Seneca put himself on trial. He reviewed his entire day with complete honesty. Where did I lose my temper? Where did I back down when I should have stood firm? Where did I waste time I'll never get back? He described this practice in On Anger, and he said it was the single most important habit of his philosophical life. Not because it made him perfect, because it made him aware. Most people never examine their days. They just experience them and move on. But the unexamined day repeats itself forever. The same mistakes, the same patterns, the same regrets, the same arguments with different people. 5 minutes of honest review each night breaks that cycle. You start catching yourself earlier. You start choosing differently. And over 30 days, those small corrections compound into a different person. The final rule is the hardest and the most powerful. Amor, Fati, love your fate. Marcus Aurelius wrote that a blazing fire takes whatever you throw into it and turns it into flame and brightness. That's Amor, Fati, not just accepting what happens to you, actively loving it, using it, turning it into fuel. The job you lost becomes the push you needed to start something of your own. The relationship that ended becomes the lesson that teaches you what you actually deserve. The failure becomes the story you tell when you've made it to the other side. This doesn't mean pretending pain doesn't hurt. It means refusing to let pain be the end of the story. It means choosing to be the fire, not the thing the fire consumes. Every setback is raw material. The question is whether you use it or let it bury you. As Seneca taught, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. Most of what you fear will never happen, and the things that do happen will make you stronger if you let them. Here's your challenge. Don't try all 7, pick one, just one, the rule that hit you hardest while you were listening. The one that made you think that's the one I need. Practice it every single day for 30 days, not perfectly, just consistently. Write one sentence about it each night before bed. Just one sentence, that's all. By day 15, you'll feel the shift. By day 30, you won't recognize the way you used to think. 7 rules built empires and survived centuries. One of them is yours. Go find it. The Stoics didn't build these practices for philosophers in ivory towers. They built them for soldiers, statesmen, prisoners, and ordinary people trying to live with purpose in a chaotic world. That's you, right now. We suffer more in imagination than in reality. If this changed how you think about discipline, subscribe for more ancient wisdom that still works today. Drop a comment telling me which of the 7 rules you're going to try. I read every single one.